Hi there, this is Pat McDonald, your host for Vote for Vermont, where our tagline is listening beyond the soundbite. Joining me in studio today is Rocket, or lately, Senator Rocket. We have to chat about that name change there. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pat.
Yeah, it's great that you're here.
Great, always great to see you.
A good thing you're young, because you have got so much going on. I don't know how you do it.
Do I? I thought it was a pretty normal schedule.
Oh, I don't think so. It looks like it's a 24/7 schedule to me. I mean, you're traveling all over the place and eating. Well, that's the part I like. I like the eating part.
Yeah, well, Pat, people do comment on the fact that they see me here, there, everywhere, and they say, well, you sure work a lot. Well, I said, well, people fly here from around the world to do what I'm doing. Drive around, eat a little food, meet the farmer. Yeah. So what people do for vacation, I do for work, and it's
That's a great way to explain it, because it sounds like fun. So before we get started into the details, especially about your new app, which I have so much fun with that. So I'm anxious to talk about it. It's great.
And I have a special surprise about that.
Oh, right. So, they've heard it here first.
They'll hear
Breaking
it here
news. So
Breaking news.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. And we did a show almost a year ago on radio. And I know there's a lot to talk about since then. So
oh, Pat, time flies.
I know.
I was just back over there at WDEV, and I was thinking about you.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, with Charlie Papillo.
Oh, Charlie Papillo's the best. He's great.
Charlie, yeah. Sorry, where shall I start for you, Pat? You want my life story in a nutshell?
A little bit of your background, and you started here in Vermont in school.
Well, just for people who are less familiar with my story, I grew up in Southern California, and in 9th grade I was going to a very fancy private boarding school, day school, excuse me, in Southern California. But I had a mullet, and I wanted to drop out to be a drummer. And my mom said, Rocket, that is a terrible idea, because you are a terrible drummer.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you, Mom. And she was right. She instead suggested that I come to Putney, and so I came where my middle school bandmate had gone. So that's how I ended up in Vermont at the Putney School.
Great.
It was a great fit, wonderful time, 3 years there.
Now, how did Mom know about the Putney School? Did you have relatives or friends here?
Pat, my middle school bandmate came to Putney. So he was here in 9th grade, and I just followed him over.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
Yeah, just great.
It's not on people's, tongues too often, the Putney School.
and not in Southern California.
Yeah, exactly.
From Putney, I wanted to not go to college. Again, of course, my mom said, you're going to college. She drove me around all these schools, bless her, and I saw Middlebury College, and I said, this is the place for me.
Yeah, right. It's a great campus.
So I applied and got admitted, luckily, and showed up, studied there for all 4 years. I studied economics, and then was going to go into finance or consulting, and got my heart broken. And I said, gosh, I don't even know what happened. I was devastated. I said, I don't even know what happened. And so I ended up straying from the corporate path, you could say. I went to Mexico, and it was in Mexico that I was working on my Spanish. I was getting to know the culture and doing a lot of journaling, and this name Rocket popped in my head.
Cool.
That's interesting. And I still thought I'd come back to America and be a good corporate citizen, and maybe use the name Rocket as a stage name for creative endeavors, or a pen name or something like that. So I thought about it for the better part of a year, and at the end of that year I said, I don't think it should be a stage name. I think it should be my real legal name. So I went to the Middlebury Courthouse, and I legally changed it.
Cool.
This is back in 2015.
Nice.
It was that same year in 2015 that I was sitting on a friend's couch, and I found on Instagram, I found the handle Eat Vermont. And Eat Vermont was available for the taking, and so I took it. I thought, that's a great name.
It is.
So this year 2015 was sort of an interesting year for me, where I hitchhiked across the country, I rode my motorcycle across the country, I started Eat Vermont, I legally changed my name to Rocket.
Busy days.
Yeah,
wow.
Busy days. Wild days. That was sort of kicked off my Kerouac years. And it was a fabulous time. I was working on Eat Vermont, which we can touch on further,
right, please,
and then I was adventuring and getting to know myself and getting to know the country, and it was great. Now, flash forward, the pandemic rolled around. I was dating someone from Addison County and looking at my professional life, which there was none,
Great.
or lack thereof, right?
Right.
And the world was seemingly falling apart because of COVID. And I said, I should probably refresh my credibility.
Right.
So I applied to Vermont Law School, and as I like to say, the best law school in Vermont.
Yes, it
and
is.
The worst law school in Vermont, and the only law school in Vermont. I went there, I studied, and got my JD, finished last year, and never took the bar, never intended to. I'm sort of keeping it in my pocket.
Right.
And I tell my friends, if you see me practicing the law, you know I failed.
Oh, God.
Right now, I'm all in on Eat Vermont. That's what I'm building.
That's great.
And yeah, that's how I got
Did
here.
you have Professor Teachout in?
I did, Peter
did you?
Teachout,
Oh,
yeah.
He was testifying the other day in one of the committees, and I was there, and I hadn't seen him in a while, and
Yeah.
he's great.
He's great.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's just one of those people that will never stop.
Yeah. No.
Rides his motorcycle to school.
Does he really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and not through the winters, but he was, as of last year, he was riding
That's
this.
great. Well, he looked great. He sat right next to me, and I was helping him with something, and it's just I hadn't seen him in a while. And he looked great.
Oh, yeah,
He's
he's
got so much respect up at the legislature because of who he is.
surely.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
great. Well, good for you. You got good teachers.
At least that one, yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. There you go. So now you're an attorney, but not taking the bar. And
Well, yeah,
but you
so
could.
technically I'm a doctor. I'm a Juris
right,
Doctorate, right?
right.
So I have my JD, but I'm not a barred attorney.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
And nor do I plan to be. Praise God.
Do you know this is the truth? Almost every CEO that I know in business is an attorney by education.
Sure.
There's something about the way they teach attorneys to think.
Yeah.
That skill helps you manage.
Yeah.
Helps, and so you don't need to be an attorney, but the skill they teach you is really important, and it helps you.
Yeah. Well, lucky for me, I've always been good at arguing. So.
There you go. At a boardroom, right?
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
Well, I
Wonderful.
practice a lot with my mother.
So tell me let's talk about Eat Vermont, because
Yeah.
that has made your name. Everybody I talk to has heard of you. and
Is
has
that
seen-
so, Pat?
Oh, no, it's really, I said, I'm interviewing Rocket. Oh, Rocket, I saw his video.
Really?
The first time I saw one of your videos, and I told you this, was when you were walking up the main street of Rutland.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I ever saw you. And I
You're
went,
one of my
"What is
original
this
fans,
guy
Pat."
doing?" That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I filmed that I think in 2015 or
Was
2016.
it? Wow,
Yeah.
ooh, getting old.
I sure am. Yeah, I like to say I'm aging in public.
Yeah, that's true. You're right on video. They're going to watch you.
Yeah, and they'll
Watch you
rewind and
grow
they'll say,
older.
"Oh, yeah, this must have been a few years ago."
Exactly. So why did you start Eat Vermont, and what is it?
Well, I started Eat Vermont originally 10 years ago as a way of hanging out in kitchens, getting to know chefs, eat a little free food, take some pictures, be creative. It was just a side project.
Yep.
And quickly I started to realize a few things. Firstly, it's very difficult for small businesses in Vermont to survive. And unfortunately, that is just the universal truth around Vermont. At the same time, those businesses are the anchors of our communities. They are so important in terms of not just the economy, but breathing life and culture into our small towns. We could replace every one of those restaurants at the McDonald's or Burger King, and yeah, you would technically have food, if you could call it that, to eat in these towns,
Right.
but you wouldn't have the personality that our towns have. It is so foundationally important to Vermont.
Great.
And that's so I became very mission driven around what can we do to support and celebrate what's going on here. And at the same time, building Eat Vermont, I came to quickly understand that it was a very difficult market to succeed in doing media. The reason why is either a business needs you and can't afford you because it's a small mom and pop, or they don't need you. They can afford you, but they don't need you. And that would be a larger company.
Right.
So you can't think of a worse market to try to sell a service into
Right, is
than
this one.
than when the two groups are
Right.
can't afford you or don't need you, right? And so I thought about this, but I was exposed to local food at the Putney School. We would work in the dairy barns, we worked in the gardens,
nice.
we worked in the kitchens. So you really got to see,
farm to plate
farm to
thing,
plate,
right? I
exactly.
love it.
Or teat to milk, a glass of milk, you know. There should be a good phrase around that, teat to treat or something, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got to see, really got to see that at Putney. And then at Middlebury studying economics, I really got to see the dynamics of a small town and how that works. And so it's long been in my mind, how do I use media, which I love telling stories, and technology, which is all around us and inevitable. How do we use these things in service of a stronger food system? How do we support the small businesses? How do we support the farmers? How do we create more vibrant farmers markets? How do we help the people who can't afford local food so that they can afford local food? I mean, how crazy is it that in an agricultural state, you have kids living down the road from farms whose families cannot afford to buy the food grown on the farms?
Right.
Doesn't make sense.
I've done a couple of shows where they talk about food insufficiency here in Vermont. I think it's 1 in every 4. In an agricultural state, that is just mind-boggling to me, how we have that. And that's why I think you're being so successful, because people realize and understand the importance of eating local and healthy foods. It's great.
Well, thank you, Pat.
Well, because 1 in 4 is just, it's embarrassing.
There's a lot of problems around food. I mean, the blessing of today is that 98%, well, we should say 100% of people who eat, which is everyone, are fed by only 2% of the people who are farmers.
Right.
In the past, we would all have to be farmers because it was so intense. So it is a blessing that farming has gotten efficient enough that so few people can feed so many. And I'm certainly grateful for them.
Right.
The challenge of that is that now we are so removed from the process of growing food that we don't even know how food is grown anymore. You know, people think chocolate milk comes to the brown cows, or, you know, all sorts of misconceptions around food. And it's easy for people who know dairy or know farms to laugh about. And it's very sad when you start to think, wow, these people who go to the restaurant have no idea where this food came from.
Yep.
So there's a problem there. There's a problem with the kids who can't whose families can't afford the food grown at the local farms. There's a problem with the restaurants where they can't keep their doors open because food costs have gotten so expensive and the consumers don't understand why the pricing is so, high. Many problems. And I said, well, how do we solve for this and just create a better way? So I've been exploring that.
Yeah.
And my theory is that, my hypothesis, you could say, is that if we can at least just get everyone together and celebrate the things that we love in common, put aside our differences and say, well, we all love to eat, we all love Vermont. So let's start there and let's use stories to just get everyone in the same room and say, okay, do we all kind of agree that we all love Vermont and love food? Well, great. So that's what we're doing right now with Eat Vermont.
That's great.
Then we built this mobile app, and then my secret announcement for you.
All right, ready?
Okay.
Do we have drums? No. But
Yeah,
go
well,
ahead.
we can. So the mobile application, I've spent the last year and a half working on a mobile application, which is called Eat Vermont, and it's public now. It's live. Anyone can download it and make a free account and use it 100% for free. The mobile app, as you know, is a one-stop shop of all things food in Vermont. So this is, for example, every menu of every restaurant in Vermont.
Wow.
One place. And you can just change the town, and look into the town, and look at all the restaurants in the town and say, oh, I've never heard about this place. You can click it and see the menu. What's that place? Click it, see the menu.
How did you get all of the menus in Vermont? How did they know of you and submit it?
Well, Pat, AI.
There's that word.
There's that word.
I'm a little slow on the AI side. I've been trying, but
What you can think of it as a very smart person who can help you out.
right.
Now, you've got to train the person up and give them the proper instructions, and you've got to bring a place for them to bring the work to. If I said, go get this menu, it can get the menu, but now where does it put it? Well, we have to create a connection, right? But imagine you're emailing someone who's working in a different part of the state, and they're helping you out, and you just said, find every menu in this town, put it in here in this format.
And it's there.
And that's what it'll do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's one example of what this mobile application does. Another one is you can create lists, your favorite lists. Here's all my favorite diners. Here's all my, my gluten-free spots and so forth.
Nice.
So you can create these different lists and save that for yourself. And then we're working with some of the producer associations, the Cheese Council, the Distillers Council. How do we create a trail so you can go and stop at the different places and have an adventure?
Nice.
So we've made this app that is totally free. You can download it on your smartphone, and it's available to anybody, resident or tourist.
Now, you went a little far away to get somebody to help you to build that app, did you not? You have to talk about that, because I think that is wild.
I did and I did not. So the ways that I did, we hired a couple people in India to help us out,
Yeah.
which is very common practice in software development,
Yeah.
especially with some of the things that you don't need to sit side by side for, let's say, right? And they're very talented developers over there, and a much better price than you can get in America. Because I am self-funding this on my own savings,
Yeah.
I said, well, that's where we'll go. And I went on a big adventure to India last
Yeah,
year.
right. I
to actually,
remember posting all your pictures. That was really cool.
yeah, I wanted to meet these people. I said, are they really real or is it all AI?
The voice on the other end of the phone when
Right.
you call.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're real people. I can verify
and
that.
smart.
Yeah. And so that was where I went far away. We still have one person over there helping us out.
Nice.
Where I did not go far away was actually my right-hand man, who is my lead software developer. He lives next door to me.
Oh, awesome.
He actually lives through the wall. You know, so if
Really?
if I have a big problem, I just knock on the wall and I say, "Hey, get up."
He moved there before you started all of this?
Yeah, we met because him and his partner moved into our building.
Oh,
You know,
cool.
and I said, "Hey,
That's
how are you?"
karma. It was meant to
It
be.
was fate. Yeah, yeah,
That's
totally.
really exciting.
It was just perfect kismet.
Nice.
So he's my right-hand guy, and he's really responsible for the development. And then we've outsourced some of the help to help create it.
Great.
Yeah.
And you have a photographer who I met in Berlin.
Yes. Yeah.
Very nice.
So Eat Vermont is known for the social media, the stories
Right,
that your
right.
friends may have seen. We've built this mobile application, and we're starting to get word out about
Right.
this app that people can utilize. Now, what we're doing is we're building out a few other things, one of which is the secret I'll share, one of which is a book. And so we are working on a hardcover book, the Eat Vermont book.
Excellent.
Pat, what it's called is Eat Vermont, the WOW counties, Washington, Orange, and Windsor.
There you go.
So tomorrow, for example, we start our day at Pucker Brush Cider.
Oh, I
And
don't even know that.
It's
I'm
a
sorry to
very
say.
small one-man operation in Reading, Vermont.
Yep.
So we're going to go start there. Then I believe we'll be at Cavendish, in Cavendish, at Cavendish Game Birds.
Yep.
It's that, and then we're going to go to Vermont Country Store.
Oh, I love this Vermont country store.
And then we're going to go see a couple chefs in Chester.
Nice.
So that's sort of the day we're going to be photographing. Now, to date, we have photographed 149 businesses.
Wow.
And they are all going to be represented in this book. And that's why we were at the Berlin Fire Department
That's great.
together. So my photographer there, she's full-time at Blake Hill Preserves, the jam company. So any of the marketing you see from there, that's her work.
Oh, nice. Well, she's very talented because your videos are amazing. They're really good.
Oh, thank you. But the videos are me.
Oh, that's you? What do you mean?
Not to take the credit, but yeah.
How do you do that? What, you have a camera and do your
Sometimes, Pat, if let's just say I was going to do a video right here,
Right.
and I've got the business behind me, and let's say you're Pat. I'll say, excuse me.
Pat, could you hold this
Would
for
you
a
hold this phone for a second?
thing? Great.
And then I do this thing.
That's
And then some of it I film myself. Some of it, sometimes I'll bring a friend out. The chefs nowadays, they put so much food out for me. And so
Because they know you. Do they know you're coming, or do you just show up?
oftentimes they know, sometimes they don't. And and because there's an established audience now that
Right.
follow along and want to see the food, and
Right.
they want to see the menu. The chefs know that the audience wants to see the menu, so they put it in front of me.
That's great.
So then I say, well, I've got taken to calling friends and saying, hey, I'm going to be at this place to film. Would you want to come?
Yeah.
I'll have to chit chat a little bit. We might get the food slightly off, not as the same temp as the chef wants, because we got to film a little first.
Right.
Might ask you to hold the camera. Small favors, but
That's funny.
the meal is on,
for
on the
you.
house, and so we'll go out. We'll have a feast. It's great, and we get to try the menu. And
That's great. Have you ever had any resistance without naming names? I mean, people that don't.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, because I found that fascinating when I'm calling people, asking them if they want to be on
Yeah.
the show, and they say no, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't, and can't hold it against them, but it just surprises me.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big world.
Yeah.
So,
When you come out with a book and the app, they'll say,
well, the app is out.
yeah, maybe.
The social media is out. The app is
And
out.
it's free, just so you know.
The app is free. All you got to do is make an account. Yeah, that's it. And the third thing we're working on is a documentary. When are you publishing here?
Probably in 2 weeks. And but we can do it much faster.
No, it's all right. Well, I think I'm going to hold this close to the vest, but we are working on a documentary, and that will be coming out in short order, in a couple months or so. And so that will be made public as well. It's a 30-minute documentary on a very well-known food person in Vermont. And then hopefully we'll be able to parlay that into a bigger series.
Great.
So we'll see where that goes. So that's sort of the media branch of Eat Vermont. Book, documentary, social media.
This is really taken on a life of its own.
Thank you.
I think that's fabulous.
Then we've got the technology, and that's the free mobile app.
Right.
Did I mention it's free?
I think we did, but they'll hear it. They'll hear the
Well,
word free.
we have to do some conversation and education of the public, because for a minute it was not free, unfortunately. And the reason why was that Apple required us to put our subscription in the app. We didn't really want that, but and this is a point of big grievance for many people who built apps. Luckily, Apple got sued and was forced to allow people to remove the subscription.
They made you charge?
Because what's a little tied in. So let me just, right. And so they didn't make us charge, but they said, if you want to charge anything for anything, because you have this app, you've got to do it here. Okay. Well, what we wanted to do is create the thing which was my secret, which is to roll out to you now, which is our Eat Vermont membership. So this is the third thing, is we're launching an Eat Vermont membership, and we want it to be many more things than the mobile app.
Right.
But because we were trying to facilitate this, Apple was requiring us to put that through the app.
Oh, I see.
And so then they said, actually, Apple got sued, so now we can make the app free.
Yep.
And now we are really formally rolling out our membership.
Excellent.
Which is great.
And if somebody has the app now, how do they fill out the membership? Is that something separate or part of the app?
They will be able to go through our website.
Oh, okay.
And then it will, what happens is once you sign up for a membership, it will unlock wonderful things in the app.
Excellent.
So we use
Just asking.
we use this free app as the foundation, and then this membership is going to be an added bonus. Now, you don't have to use the app. We are going to sell membership cards that you'll be able to use as well.
Great.
And that will be easier for some people who don't like apps.
This is so exciting.
It's very
This is
exciting.
Cool. I wish somehow maybe we could figure out a way to show some of this on the video at the end. Maybe just maybe what some of the pages look like, and we could
Surely.
figure something out. I think that'd be cool.
The easiest way, I think, is for people to go to eatvermont.com.
Okay.
That's
And
our
just
website.
Download it.
Well, eatvermont.com, we've got previews of the app. You can
Oh,
see it
do
there.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we'll
and
do
then you'll
that.
also be able to get a sense of what the membership will be.
Yeah.
But since we're here, Pat, I'll tell you what the perks of the membership are,
Go ahead.
if you're
I
curious.
feel like, yes, we are. This is like brand news.
Yeah,
New news.
we're breaking the
Yeah.
news. So the perks of the membership are threefold. The first is what you would imagine with a membership, which is you get discounts or better pricing at various places.
Ah.
Now, that's common to different organizations, but our membership is the best set of pricing that you can get in Vermont.
Nice.
And the reason why is because Eat Vermont has the greatest audience and the best relationships with the food scene.
Right.
So, for example, we're offering members 15% off at Skinny Pancake, 15% off at Felino's Pizza, 15% off the Ben & Jerry's Scoop Shops,
Wow.
20% off at Burlington Beer Company's food for the food, right? 10% off at dozens of different partners around
That's
state.
wonderful. You've been very busy.
And we're going to be rolling all of this out in very, very short order. So
That's great.
thrilled to sit here and break the news.
That's awesome. I'm going to go home and do that.
So that's available on our website,
Yeah.
eatvermont.com. You can just click, and that's the first tier of perks. The second tier of perks
Whoop. Yes.
is that what you will unlock as a member is secret menus. So I have 50 chefs around state working on secret menus. These are only for members.
Oh,
30,
that's
30 or
great.
4 items that you can only order if you're an Eat Vermont member.
That's so cool.
It's very cool.
I bet they're excited about it.
They're very
too.
excited, yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone loves having a secret menu,
Yep.
and it will be a fun thing where you can only, basically, when you become a member, in the app, you'll be able to suddenly see the secret menus, right?
That's
So you'll be
great.
able to see the secret menu items.
Awesome. And I love to cook. This
Yes.
is very good.
And we're going to use that as a way of letting chefs be creative
Yeah.
without messing with their published menu. So the normal people coming
Yeah.
through, they'll get to see the menu that they've been assembled. But the chefs, at any point they want to try something out, let's try cooking the ramps a different way, or let's
Yeah.
try cooking, the lamb a different way. Well, they might put that on the secret menu. So they keep lamb normally on the menu, but here's a different method and
Nice.
process that we're going to cook this. So that'll be for members only.
Great.
The third layer of perks
Yes.
is that we are going to be giving our members exclusive access to different experiences that you can only get as a member.
For instance.
For instance, and many of these will be ticketed. So you'll still have to pay for the tickets, but you can only buy them as an Eat Vermont member. Okay. For example, we are going to do, are you familiar with Hill Farmstead Beer?
Yep.
It's their 15th anniversary. They've sold out all the events. Okay. Well, one of their fall harvest event, they've set aside 50 tickets just for Eat Vermont members.
Nice.
So even though it's totally sold out, Eat Vermont members will still be able to attend by purchasing one of those tickets.
Excellent.
Another one, Lincoln Peak Vineyard down in New Haven. They're going to do a tour of the vineyard, a tasting with the winemakers. It's $80 a person, and it is only bookable as an Eat Vermont member.
That's great. Lincoln Peak is excellent.
It's great.
I've tasted their wines at different farmers markets and stuff. They go out a lot. That's great.
Jasper Hill Cellars.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe you've heard of them.
I have.
Their Bailey Hazen was served at the White House.
Yeah.
Their cheese vaults, their cellars, you cannot get into those cellars. It is very difficult unless you have a particular inside track.
Yep. And
It turns out that I do have a particular inside
Right.
track. They've always been wonderful to me and to Eat Vermont. And so they are going to be offering 2 tours of the cellars to Eat Vermont members.
wonderful.
Okay. Another example, and then I'll leave it so
No,
you get
that's
the
okay.
sense.
Go ahead. Keep going.
Maybe you've heard of Grace Potter,
Oh, just a little. Yep.
our superstar,
Yeah.
Grace Potter. She'll be doing a meet and greet behind the scenes, like backstage meet and greet, that will be ticketed and available only to Eat Vermont members.
Wow.
And this will be for her waterfront show this fall. in September.
Excellent.
So these are things, and I think my understanding, don't quote me on this, I know I'm saying, but my understanding is it will be ticketed and those will go in support of her nonprofit foundation.
Oh, nice. Isn't she's wonderful?
She's an amazing, amazing superstar, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So these are just an illustration of the types of perks that we're going to be offering to Eat Vermont members.
That's great.
So now you might be wondering, what is the price of membership? And for these thousands of dollars of value that
Right,
we're offering
right.
our members, you'd think we should charge thousands of dollars.
But
We're doing membership the Vermont way. Pay what you can.
oh,
And so on our website, you can sign up, eatvermont.com. You go on there, and you can find sliding scale.
right,
So the most you can pay is $12 per month, and you'll pay it annually.
right.
And the least you can pay, if you're a little bit hard up, but you still want to go have these food experiences, $1 per month.
That's amazing.
So for as little as $12 a year,
Right.
you can be an Eat Vermont member and take advantage of all these perks.
Excellent.
And I did that because I've been broke in my life, and I could use, actually, I still am, but I could use, there's periods where you really could use that extra,
Yeah.
advantage. And look, if you're going to take your kids out to Skinny Pancake or Ben & Jerry's this summer, it's a great opportunity to just take advantage of the pay what you can
Right.
and go out there. You'll save money. You'll be able to go out there and support local businesses, and it just makes it a more fun way to include the whole state.
Very impressive. How are
Thank
you
you, Pat.
getting the word out, though?
About this membership?
About everything that we've talked about. I mean, obviously, we'll put it out there
Yeah.
as much as we can. But TV spots, radio, I mean, there's got to be a way to really
Well-
flood the state.
We need to work on that. Yeah. Yeah,
Because-
we sure do.
Yeah, because this is too awesome to pass up. It's great. It's exciting.
Thank you, Pat.
Yeah, it's exciting. Wait till other people hear about it. They'll be starting it in all different states.
Surely, yeah.
That's good. You
Yeah.
can become the, what do they call that when, well, some of the fast foods are they're part of a chain. You could be the
Well, oh, I see. Franchises.
franchise. Thank you.
Oh, I
But,
see. Well, maybe,
that's where that law
maybe. I
degree
don't know.
came in.
For me, my focus is Vermont,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Eat Vermont. It's not called Eat America, and we're starting in Vermont. It's called Eat Vermont,
That's
and
great.
yeah, this is where my roots are and my love is. So,
That's,
yeah.
I'm just so impressed. That's really great.
Oh, thank you, Pat.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
You must have a few more people helping you though, because this doesn't sound like either that or you're working 24/7.
Well, no, I probably work 14 or 15 hours a day, something like that. Yeah, but that's not too bad. You know, if you sleep 8 hours, and you know my work. I eat when I work. I work
Yeah,
to
right,
eat.
right,
I
it's
eat
true.
to work.
You don't have to worry about
So
eating.
I don't have to carve out mealtime here, right? You know, a little personal time to get to the gym or see some loved ones, or
Right.
But besides that, Pat, here's the deal. You know, my family's from South Korea,
Right.
and they immigrated here in the 60s and 70s, 50s through the 60s, 50, in any case, they moved here and immigrated. They worked their tails off, and to this day, my maternal grandmother, she's my sole surviving grandparent, doesn't speak English. She moved here in her 40s, and they worked endlessly. They worked more than 14-hour days, and they did not get the free food for working, right?
Right.
And so I'm very aware of how privileged I am. Many people work day in, day out,
She
day in,
is
day
so,
out.
I've seen pictures of her. She is beautiful.
She's
We
a
should
radiant
all-
star,
We
yeah.
should all look as good as she does at her age. Seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
She's a radiant star.
Yeah.
So but many people around the world work day in, day out, day in, day out, and the next day they wake up
No,
and they're still at the iPhone factory.
Yeah, right.
Or they're still in the mine. And for me, I work hard because as I do this, I'll get messages from business owners. Hey, we are so busy after your video. Thank you so much. Well, that's
Now, who picks up on your videos? Where do you show them? Is it on public access?
no, mostly on
Or,
social media and
the cell phones and all the stuff that we all use,
yeah, right.
TikTok and all that.
Yeah, exactly. And the way that the algorithms work these days, you can put a video up and it'll reach just an enormous amount of people.
Right,
I did a video with Mad Taco, and I don't
Oh.
know, 50,000 people have seen this.
Wow.
Right, so you could say almost 10% of Vermont has seen this taco video,
Yep.
right? But the thing is, it doesn't stop me from publishing another video later today.
Yeah, right.
And when you work through traditional channels, well, your radio spot is at this time every day. And that's great. The consistency is beautiful. And there's obviously an amazing contingency of people that enjoy those formats. Social media, though, you just put one thing in the right place, and it'll go in front of 100,000 people.
It just goes on,
Yeah.
on forever. That's really great.
Yeah.
How do you ask this? Have you ever been disappointed in going someplace and been disappointed in the food or disappointed
Oh,
in
yeah.
something?
Sure.
Yeah. And what do you do?
Well,
You just go forward or?
I practice this art of complimenting publicly and critiquing privately. I'm really
That's
aware.
always a benefit. That's good.
Yeah, and I put my work out in the public, and it is very hurtful when people say critical things, even in the comments.
Right.
I have enough of a sense of self to say, well, I guess I'll have to get over it.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
Moving on.
but it can be hurtful, right?
Yeah.
And I'm aware that even with a restaurant, especially with a restaurant where they're in a fixed place, they've got their signage together, their branding, they made the meal, they did all these things. They chose the chairs, they chose the mugs, everything they've
Right.
put together, right? And you come in and you get a bad meal. Well, if you get online and you say, okay, well, this and this is terrible, and that sucked, and I'll never come back.
Right.
What a hurtful thing to say to someone who
sure.
has
Their
put
whole
so
life.
much, yeah. And it's their livelihood. And so for me now, aware that I also have an audience, it's amplified even more, right? So what I'll do is I'll reach out to people and I'll say, hey, are you open for some feedback? And I'll just say, I think you should
that's a
change
good
this,
thing.
or I don't know that I would approach it this way. Ultimately, it's my 2 cents, but it's their life and
Right,
business.
right.
So they can.
Well, I bet they would take your advice for sure because you've
Well, sometimes they
had
do.
experience, that's for sure.
Sometimes they do, and sometimes they
Yeah.
don't. But I've started to consult privately for a few people as well.
Oh, nice.
As a paid practice, I think they'll take it a little more seriously if they do it paid.
Right. That's great because I've been to some places that some people have recommended and you're sitting there going, why?
Yeah, right.
Why did this get recommended? Yeah.
Right, right.
And you try to be nice and say, well, thank you very much, and
Right.
never go back.
Right.
But we've had a couple of people in the industry that, a restaurant I know, I love it, and it was open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and just stopped doing dinner because they didn't have the flow, and I didn't quite understand why. But that's been happening a little bit, mainly because no people to work at the restaurant.
Oh,
Have you
staff,
been
yeah.
seeing that around town? Because that's around the state. Because I've heard that a lot.
It is, it's sort of geographically dependent, and it's seasonally dependent,
Right.
and it's also dependent on the management.
That's true.
There are places that never have trouble hiring.
Good point.
Never,
Yeah.
right? No matter how few,
Right.
how sparse the labor force is,
Yep.
there are some places that are always full, right? And I think that is a testament to the management.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a great challenge for other leaders and business owners to figure out what are they doing right that we can replicate.
You know, another area that really needs some help, after the flood here, it was hard getting people back to, well, I was involved with Montpelier, but people get back to any of our towns to shop. And you know, as an economist, that the last quarter of every year is the most critical quarter,
Sure.
because the first quarter of the next year is slow usually because you've spent all your money on the holidays.
Yeah.
And Montpelier was having a real struggle getting people to come back to downtown.
Yeah.
And we were doing these 15-minute clips with all the businesses just to, please come down and shop locally, buy locally.
Yeah.
And that was a real challenge this year, because people were afraid that comes January, February, March, that they would start closing and can't make it through.
Yeah, now you have the pit, but I don't know, I'm quite fond of Montpelier, and
Yeah, I love it.
yeah,
I
I'm
love
certainly rooting for it.
Montpelier.
I think Montpelier Live does a wonderful job, and Katie Trout's.
Isn't she amazing?
I think this town is incredibly lucky to have
Yeah,
her.
yeah. But I think people in the individual stores just feel they were really struggling this last year, but I think
Yeah.
things have sort of calmed down and we're back a little bit
Yeah.
to the way it used to be. But
Yeah.
it's hard to get people to shop locally and to
Yeah.
realize the benefit of it, that you're keeping your stores.
Well, yeah, it is much more expensive to replace an empty storefront than it is to just keep one.
For sure.
In motion,
for sure.
right.
We have so many awesome towns in this state. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Woodstock.
Yeah.
You can just go on and on. Simon Pierce. Have you been? You must have been there.
I've been to Simon Pierce.
Oh my God, I love Simon Pierce. I have friends that live on the other side.
Yeah.
Going down, and that's our halfway point. We meet at Simon Pierce.
That's great.
I love
The
it.
restaurant.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, the chef there is working on a great secret menu.
Oh, is he
for our
really? Oh, I
membership.
bet he'll be fabulous.
Yes.
You know, I like it there, besides being on the water, they use the products that they're selling there. So the plates and the glasses,
Totally.
it's all
Yeah, you say, oh my God, this glass is so nice.
It's just amazing.
I wonder where I could get one.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
oh,
right over here at the
Let's
retail
walk
store.
outside. I just love it. Anyway,
Yeah.
we've got some great places here.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
sure do.
Yeah. And let's see, I'm trying to think well, of course, we don't have too much in Berlin, but Barry's got some great restaurants.
Pearl Street Pizza.
Oh, is that great? And the guy who ate the whole store there is just so unique with
Pete
all the
Coleman.
Italian, with all the Italian foods and
Yeah.
shipped right in from overseas. I mean, he's really done an amazing job.
He is very much an entrepreneur.
Yep,
Yeah.
for sure. And he's got his it's not salami.
Salumi.
Salumi, thank you.
Vermont salumi.
He opens up this door for me, and there's rows and rows of hanging.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, the dry aging.
Yeah, because they don't really have a store there to shop. There's no supermarket there per se, like a.
Oh, in Barry.
Yeah, there's none. There used to be, but there's not anymore.
Yeah.
And so they struggle a little.
You know, I'm quite fond of Barry. I think there's a lot of really great spots. Pearl Street Pizza and Morse Block Deli are doing.
Oh, aren't they great?
They're both great, and they're both owned by Stefano Coppola. And Pearl Street Pizza is a group of guys that own this together. But, they both have secret menus and 10% off for Eat Vermont members.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You
So
really
you'll be able
picked
to
the
take
good
advantage
ones.
of that.
That's
The
good.
Meltdown in Barry, great grilled
Yep.
cheeses. What else is out there? Foxy's, this is a satellite of Fox Market in East
Oh,
Montpelier.
I don't know.
I haven't eaten there yet, but Fox Market is great.
Well, the Meltdown, first of all, it opened during COVID. I mean, who does that? And second thing, I'm allergic to, shall we say, on public, garlic. And everything in the Meltdown
It's garlic.
is garlic. And they went out of their way to make me a sandwich
Really?
that I would like, and it was fabulous. And they were so worried about me and my allergy. And they just went out of their way, and there was no reason to do that. But
That's great.
they were wonderful. I was very impressed.
That is great.
Yeah, because when I said that, they were all like, "What? Somebody's allergic to garlic?" It's like, well, Sarducci's. They always take good care of me there when I mention my allergy.
Yeah.
How ridiculous! But anyway, is there? You had mentioned in the beginning when you were sort of trying to figure out what to do. You had talked about doing something with regard to civics and
Yes.
getting people involved in the process here and understanding what. And I was when this is going to take off into another whole realm. Your Eat Vermont.
You think?
But I do. I think you're
We'll
going to be
see.
so busy. But I'm hoping someday in between maybe
Yeah.
there's something that can be done about getting people.
Civically engaged.
Yeah, because they're just not, and I don't understand. Except when the tax bill comes, then they're like, "Whoa, what is this?"
Sure. Well, most people are living their lives, right? We only vote once or twice a year.
Right.
And we eat every day. So
There you go.
I'm sort of starting where we have common ground, and let's just see where this takes us.
I
Yeah.
hope that never leaves your thought process, because I can imagine you would be unbelievable to attack something like that. I told the story. I taught civics just because I volunteered at a church school in Websterville, and the parents came to my classroom, when I was teaching the kids, because they didn't know anything about civics, about how a bill is made, and they came to. Sometimes I had more parents than kids. It was so bizarre.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, that's great.
It's out there.
Yep.
Anyway.
It's very important.
Yeah. So what else would you like to tell our folks? I'm going to try to get a couple of your videos at the end of this.
Oh,
with
okay.
Your energy and smiling face, and
Well, thank you, Pat. I mean, I guess, let's see, what else do we have? I've got loads of stories about food we could
Well, you
always
can talk about
Yeah.
that for sure. That's one of my favorite topics.
No, I mean, it could be fun to intersperse this conversation with a couple of the videos. There's, I did the whole series with Vermont Public.
Yep.
You could use that
Right.
as well. And those are 9-minute videos that you could put in. And
have you found that brings up an
Yeah.
important topic? Sometimes we do videos here, and I have another program that I do that's only 15 minutes. People really you can only get their attention for just so long.
it depends
Isn't
on
that-
the format, right? Because people listen to podcasts now that are 2 or 3 or 4 hours long.
Right.
So they are willing to sit and listen, but it's just kind of setting the expectation. Oh, this is going to be a longer one, right?
Yeah.
But if you put it on social media, in the Instagram app or the Facebook app,
it's really
then
instant.
people say, this better not be more than 2 minutes.
Right,
Let's get to
right.
it, right? So it really depends on the format. Right.
So when they're listening to those 2-3 hour blogs, where are they? Are they at work listening to the
Yeah, I don't know.
radio?
Where
I mean, they're doing something, right?
That's a good question, yeah.
They're not sitting.
Well, I think a lot of people work with their hands, right? And so if they're out landscaping or
Yep.
if they're, wood carving or
Right.
timber framing or,
They're listening, yeah.
Yeah, their ears are still active. If they're cooking, right? You're baking 200 loaves of
Yeah.
bread today.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe you should listen to something.
Yeah.
Right? So I think there's that. And it's something where you can't even click and be flipping to the next thing. So you just tune into.
Yeah, right. A subject that you're interested in. That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really good. So here you are.
Here we are,
How
Pat.
much do you have a map or something that tells you where you've been, and how much of Vermont have you covered, like the Northeast Kingdom?
Oof, I'm light on the Northeast Kingdom. I admit
well.
that, and the northern border. I'm quite light there.
yeah.
Everywhere else, I've been quite extensively. Yeah,
right.
especially this area, central Vermont.
Yep.
Covered quite a lot.
Well, we're very lucky with restaurants.
Very much so.
Barry has gotten a couple of beautiful ones there, and they've just sort of popped up. And Montpelier is just
Yeah.
An amazing town. With
Montpelier, Waterbury, Barrie,
Waterbury,
Waitsfield.
yeah.
And this little triangle in this
Yeah.
area is a very nice
Yeah.
area. I mean, even if you go out from East Montpelier through Plainfield into Cabot, it's very nice.
Have you ever been to the farmers markets of any of these towns? And
Oh, sure, yeah.
have you?
I've been to Montpelier, I've been to Waitsfield, yeah.
Waitsfield, I must admit, is my favorite. I
Yeah.
love Waitsfield.
It's a great one.
But
Well, Waitsfield's fun because you have people from Addison County come over,
Yep,
right?
right,
And then you have people from Windsor County come over. You know, it just like pulls everything in to the
Yep,
center of
right, come on.
the heart of Vermont.
Right,
It's really
that's
a great.
and
yeah.
the people that sell their products there, if you ask them how do you cook it, how do you prepare it,
Yeah.
and I do this all the time.
Yeah.
They will spend 20 minutes with you, telling you what to do because they're so excited. The Jerusalem artichokes, I don't know if you know, they are the ugliest looking things. And I thought, what the heck do you do with these?
Yeah.
And the guy who was selling them just spent forever. And I tried them and I love them, and there you go. But you'd have to know how to
Yeah.
cook them because
Well,
they're all funny
This is
looking.
one of the great benefits of a farmer's market is you get to meet the farmer.
Right.
And so you can say, what in the hell is this?
Exactly.
And I say,
Exactly.
oh, this is
Well,
what it
people
is.
like, they're proud of what they've grown, and
Totally.
You know?
And then they can tell you all about it, and you get to meet the person who planted the seed, maybe propagated it, and then transplanted it, and then grew it, and
then you eat it.
harvested
How cool
it,
is that?
washed it, cleaned it, brought it to you. You know, there's so much work that gets involved with that. It's unbelievable. Dave Hartshorn is a farmer in Waitsfield.
Yep.
And
know him.
when we went to visit him, Jessica and I were going to photograph him for our book.
Yep.
He was crouched in the tomato plants, hand pollinating his tomatoes because the pollinators were out.
Oh, wow.
This by hand, you got to touch all of the.
Yep, right.
Yeah.
Now that's dedication.
Absolutely,
For
just
sure.
true devotion
Yeah.
to the plants. I mean, it's really
You
incredible.
must be a great cook by now.
Me, I'm going to be the world's worst cook, the world's
No
best
reason
eater.
to- I like eating out a lot.
I eat out all the time. You know,
I bet.
sometimes people will say, "Oh, would you like to bring it home?" I was like, "Well, I've got 3 more stops today, so I would like to bring it home,
Yeah,
but
but
you
no.
know, it's just not going to make it with me." Yeah.
That's great.
So, but I like to think I'm a bit of a pollinator or Santa Claus. You know,
Yeah, there you
grab,
go.
grab the food.
Well,
out,
you are bringing
bring
them
it
a
on.
great gift of exposure and getting to
Oh,
be,
thank you.
to
Yeah.
let people know what's going on.
What I meant, Pat, is that people will load me up with
Oh,
croissants and
right.
cookies, and then I'll say, "Okay, great, I'm going to go see Pat next."
Yeah,
And
but-
here you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Come here, share with me.
Yeah, I really try not to eat more than a few bites if I know I'm
I
going to be
bet,
at a
'cause,
bunch of
you
places.
wouldn't look
yeah.
like you do if you. That's why I would hate to really work at home. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be good at that. Me and the refrigerator be a
You're too close.
steady line. Yeah.
Yeah, you need a divorce.
I know.
Yeah, forced separation.
Very bad.
Separate bedrooms and
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right, just stay
yeah,
away.
I think you know, I am on the road a lot, and I'm always trying to find the balance of honoring the food that they've made, trying the food, and then also just being conscientious of my health because I actually sit quite a lot because I'm
Yeah, you're in the car.
interviews, I'm in the car, I'm sitting at
Right.
the table, so it's like I don't get to live the active lifestyle that farmers, let's say, get to live. So I'm cognizant of, okay, I got to make sure that I find a healthy balance between being able to properly enjoy this food and, you know.
And I think maybe your videos might help instill the charm of and the hard work of being a farmer, maybe, because there are a lot of young people that are now into farming. Maybe not the traditional cow farm, but just flowers and vegetables and stuff there.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a lot of younger people interested in that type of farming,
Yeah.
and thank goodness. But it'd be great to get them involved too, because it's
Yeah.
nobody's there to take the place of the older farmer that may be wanting to retire. You know,
Yeah, unfortunately, we do hear this from many farmers.
well, it's happening all over.
Yeah, it's quite sad,
Yeah,
actually.
we
Yeah.
gotta get a group going together, and I think your videos would help them to really, be a chef.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great occupation.
Right. Well, you know, the tough thing with social media, media in general, is it tends to glamorize, right? Part of the point is to glamorize, is just to say, look at this great place, look at this food. It's very easy to walk in the door. Here's what it looks like on the inside. You know, you can kind
Right.
of set tone for people to say, well, how inviting. This sounds
Right,
fun. We
exactly.
should go. We should do this. Oh, look at this kitchen life. This chef seems so cool. It'd be nice to work alongside.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening sometimes is that we end up washing over the negative, and that it's unintended, right?
Yeah.
But it is nonetheless one of the unintended consequences of, how do we make sure that we can appreciate the dairy farmer while also illustrating how difficult it is.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of work.
Totally.
And early in the morning, too, I hear. I don't get up until the sun shines, for sure. Anyway, I don't want to run out of time, because I would like to show one of your videos.
Yeah.
And I can't thank you enough for coming on. It's great.
Thank you, Pat. I appreciate it.
And when is the book coming out?
It's coming out later this year. We are still in the throes of editing it, writing it, putting it together.
Good for you.
And
in time for Christmas? That'll be a heck of a Christmas gift.
we are really working to get to that
Good,
deadline.
that's good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Rocket.
Pat.
Oh, I forgot to ask really quick, where did that senator thing come in? Senator Rocket is everywhere. Why is that?
I'm a senator now, Pat.
You're a senator, what does that mean?
Well, I told you my name for 10 years was Rocket.
Right.
Just Rocket. Well, when we built this mobile app, we needed to work with Apple and Google
Yeah,
and
and when you
banks.
needed a...
And
first
having
and
one
second-
name just wasn't lining up with anything.
Oh, interesting.
So I said, okay, I'll be a senator.
There you go. I love it. I love it. What is he doing?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's a bit of same with when I changed my name to Rocket. People were like, Rocket? That's so unusual. Just one name. It's so bizarre.
Like Cher.
And
Cher.
in Prince, and people had many mixed feelings about it. Some people were like, oh, I love it. That's so
right.
unique. It's great. Some people were like, okay, well, this guy's really strange. It would make him a little nervous, right? And it was a really good way of me understanding how they felt.
Right.
And it didn't matter to me whether they liked it, didn't like it, whatever. Just
your
okay.
name.
You love it, great. We can move to the next thing. You're a little nervous because my name's unusual. Well, we can talk about it, or I'll treat you more gently, right? So it's a good indicator.
Cool.
The same with senator. I think times have changed so much in the last 10 years, right? So I think people are more accepting of different things now. But it is interesting. Sometimes I think, especially people who are in politics here in this town, feel a little queasy about me being a senator.
That's really, I love it. That's
And I say, well, that's funny because...
certainly legal, you can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. But do you have any problem with someone being named Jesus or Mohammed?
No.
So,
Right.
I don't know. And it's, to me, it's a bit
cool.
comical.
It's you.
Well, and I think that in the political sphere, I think it is important that we respect the people who are in elected office.
Right.
I think also there are times that people who in elected office let their heads get a little too big for themselves.
You think?
And I think that having to grapple with some humility of, oh, well, he's a senator too, even though he didn't earn it, and all these things. They have mixed feelings because I have a big audience, this, and then they may not agree with me on everything, but it's a very interesting thing that they have to navigate. And as an artist, I'm good, I want you to feel some things.
Good for you. And another quick thing, you're not on the select board anymore,
No,
are you?
no.
But you were on
Thankfully.
your town select board.
I was.
And that was an experience.
It was a great
It's
experience.
good. I like being local.
Very challenging.
Yeah.
Very glad I did it.
Yeah, local politics is a thing all of its own. Probably deserves a whole show to talk about local politics.
Totally.
Because it's different than statewide politics, for sure. But anyway, you did good. Thank you, sir, very much.
Oh, thank you,
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. This is Pat McDonald, your host for Vote for Vermont, where our tagline is listening beyond the soundbites. See you next week.
Judy,
Yes,
how long have you worked here at Wayside Diner?
it'll be 38 years this fall.
Excellent. And tell me about what is it like to work at this place with all this delicious food?
It's like being caring for the community.
Caring for the community?
Yeah, because the community thrives in here.
Yeah.
And they come in and they meet their friends, or they talk to old students, or it's just part of the heartbeat of Central Vermont. It really is.
Excellent.
You never know who you're going to see. I'm waiting on people now who were in high chairs when I first started working here, and they're bringing their children in now.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty amazing. And a lot of them know me by name, or at least by face. Oh, you're still here? And I said, well, they haven't managed to get rid of me yet. So yeah, it's really, really heartwarming to work here.
So in front of us here we have a burger. This is the double whammy, I'm told.
Double whammy.
Okay.
It's cheddar cheese, it looks like.
Okay. And then over here we've got some clam strips.
Clam strips, everyone loves the clam strips. And as you can see, it's quite a generous portion.
It is a generous portion. What do we got over here?
We have
What
Green
breakfast?
Mountain Special,
Okay.
where you have a nice slice of ham, homemade home fries,
Yeah.
3 eggs, and your choice of white, wheat, or rye toast, which are all homemade.
Quite the platter.
Yes.
And then last over here.
That is the country Canadian combo,
Okay.
because you have Canadian bacon,
Right.
sausage, and then you could either have the French toast or homemade pancakes.
Excellent. Now, of these four, I know you brought homemade lasagna today, but what would you eat if you got to choose amongst this food?
It really is a hard choice. People come in and say, "What's good here?" I says, "Everything's good." And if we serve you something you don't care for, we're glad to swap it out for something. You know, our job is to make you happy, make your dining experience good.
Yeah,
Make sure you don't leave hungry or unsatisfied.
surely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having us here.
Welcome. I appreciate you coming in and sharing the Wayside with the rest of the world.
All right, if you just tell me your name and where we are.
Chris Moore, the Wayside Restaurant in Berlin, Vermont.
Great. And this is a classic restaurant. How long have you been open?
107 years this year.
Amazing. Your role here?
One of the owners.
Anything you want to share to the community about Wayside, someone who hasn't been here before?
We're here for the community every day. We try to do a lot of stuff local
Yeah.
when we can.
So breakfast, lunch, dinner?
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, 7 days a week, just closed for major holidays.
Amazing. Cool. Hey, thanks for having us.
Thank you.